It has been reported that the government plans on allowing individuals who do some forms of trophy hunting in Zimbabwe and Zambia to come back with their trophy. Now, this has to do with elephants specifically, and the government has not announced this policy officially. However, this became apparent when an organization that wants to essentially deregulate some hunting abroad announced it to some of their fans and volunteers. So the Trump administration does plan to allow hunters to bring trophies of elephants they killed in Zimbabwe and Zambia back to the United States, reversing a ban put in place by the Obama administration back in 2014. Now, there was a good reason why the Obama administration put that ban in place. At that time, it was reported that the elephant population had decreased significantly. It was listed as an endangered species, in fact, still listed as endangered. So even though these elephants are listed as endangered under the Endangered Species Act, a provision in the act allows the government to give permits to import such trophies if there is evidence that the hunting benefits conservation for that species. So I want to be absolutely clear about something. Look, I don't understand the appeal of this hunting. I don't understand the appeal of hunting, period, right? But my opinion or my emotions about it are not relevant. What is relevant is whether or not there are ever any cases where hunting could help raise money for conservation efforts, and that does happen. So that's not just a lame talking point. You know, there could be cases where there's a particular animal that's extremely old or is now being harmful to the other animals, and so they will allow a permit to hunt that animal down, and then that person can take that animal's head or something as a trophy, and then the money that they pay to get that permit goes toward conservation efforts. So I want to give the full story. But at the same time, I mean, when you look at the numbers of these elephants and you also consider some of the corruption happening in these countries and sometimes how they lie about certain numbers, it makes you worry. So the permits will apply to elephants hunted in Zimbabwe from January 21st to 2016 to December 31st, 2018, and elephants hunted in Zambia during 2016, 2017, and 2018 for applications that meet all other applicable requirements. Now, the savanna elephant populations declined significantly, 30% across 18 countries in Africa from 2007 to 2014, which is why in 2014 Obama passed that regulation. Now, that put their remaining numbers at just over 350,000. There's another component of the story that we'll get to in a second, like why, considering everything that's happening in the country, is the government focusing on this issue? And look, Trump's sons love to do this type of hunting.
They're trophy hunters.
Trophy hunters, yeah.
And it was also an Obama thing. So in the spirit of I want to get rid of everything that Obama did, it fits that category as well.
He's got a little card in his wallet next to his bed that says things Obama did. And he's just going through them one by one because he just didn't like the fact that Obama made fun of him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
But anyone with a conscience can't be good with this. These animals are endangered. Elephants are being poached. They're being hunted relentlessly by people who don't give a shit about the law. And they are losing habitat. You know, they're losing habitat to us. We're beginning to eliminate their habitat on a scale that reduces them to smaller and smaller amounts of acreage for them to roam and to live. And as a result, that pens them in. And by being penned in, now with helicopters, with infrared scopes, they are hunted. And they're hunted in brutal ways. Oftentimes, elephants, an entire herd of elephants will be killed because the watering hole is poisoned by poachers. Why? Because they want the ivory. It is there is a brutality to it that shows the darkest of hearts. And I can't imagine being part of a country that would sanction this in this way. And by the way, just on the documentation, I love that documentation thing because so much money is paid for this. You know, these rich kids like the Trumps who go over there and trophy hunt.
Let's go to their pictures, by the way, while Mark makes his point.
Hard to look at these pictures.
They can get the documentation because for $250,000, they'll draft any document you want.
That's an elephant tail that Donald Trump Jr. is holding with bullets around his waist and a knife, and he looks like it's just sick.
It's despicable. And these are great sentient creatures who are highly social, as you know, and already, as I say, their habitat, delicate as it is, has been awfully disturbed. And what kind of insecure, displaced machismo do you need for this shit?
No, it's true.
Horrible.
And there are people that wake up every day in this world raising money for conservation, and thankfully people giving money for conservation. That to do this in the name of some kind of conservation is as disingenuous as, forget that money that you get for this. And other people, if they know that they're short $1 million, you'll be able to raise $1 million in the world to save the savannah, to save the African elephants. And it does say so much about the man who's our president that he raised, in my opinion, raised kids who can smile in front of a dead animal like that and hold a piece of its body. It's just, I don't understand it. Yeah. It's really bad. And, sorry, one little piece of irony is in Zimbabwe today, it was agreed that there's a way now to get Robert Mugabe, the lifelong dictator come president, out of that country with safe passage. Yeah. But you can, this is a man who has killed and impoverished generations of Zimbabweans since it became Zimbabwe after Rhodesia. He has destroyed that country, but he can go out alive with safe passage and have a happy landing. But our president said, no, you can bring the head of an elephant home, or the foot of an elephant, or whatever it is. It's terrible.
If you like this video, you'll love the whole TYT network. Check it out at tytnetwork.com/join.